This video is about dreams and the subconscious. This second video in the series, Dreams and the Subconscious, is going to look at why we dream, how we dream, how we can dream more, and how we can begin to interpret our own dreams. And given that's enough for about 5 videos in the series, I'm probably only going to cover a part of it. I'm certainly not going to get into the biological reasons for dreaming, partially because a lot of these are misleading. The fact of the matter is that brain scientists understand very little about how our brains actually work. Very little is known, for instance, about the nature and quality of the various different neurotransmitters in making us who we are and making us either emotionally and mentally well or unstable and so on and so forth, in governing our sleep, our wakefulness, our insomniac periods. Very, very little is known indeed. So I'm not going to be too interested in the brain chemistry. What I'm more interested about is that 80% of the iceberg we discussed in the last video, which lies hidden from our daily conscious understanding, which is the subconscious mind. And it is that subconscious mind that we sometimes have access to in our sleep. And this is always exciting. It can sometimes be horrifying and frightening. It can be disturbing. But it's always exciting because, as you know, the images with which we are presented are usually very, very colourful, very vivid, and make us feel when we wake up, almost without exception, what was that all about? Or I want to understand more, or I want this dream to go on. And indeed, sometimes it's possible to go back to sleep and allow the dream to continue. Now, that is not happening by coincidence. If you've ever had that experience of the dream continuing, it's happening because you are in an important piece of dialogue between your conscious, waking mind and your subconscious mind. And that dialogue needs to continue. If you dream well, you will be a happier person. Even the most grotesque, unpleasant dreams, if properly understood by yourself and not foolishly interpreted by other people who may feel they have those powers but do not, can be very helpful in resolving any unpleasant and difficult issues you may be facing in your life. So dreams are a wonderful window on your subconscious mind, and they are a wonderful opportunity to make connections between that little tiny 20% of the iceberg and the 80% that remains hidden. So what can you do to dream? To make sure that you do dream well? Well, not very much, really. We don't have much control. But you may have noticed that you will dream more vividly where there are times of crisis in your life, or where you're feeling particularly happy and well-placed in your life. This is not by coincidence. The mind is a very clever thing, including the most important 80% which remains hidden. And at a time of crisis, we are very often given a window to that subconscious mind in order to have an association with parts of the subconscious that can help inform what we are doing and how we are thinking in our daily lives. Now again, I want to stress at this point the very, very important issue of dream interpretation and what rubbish it is when it comes from books or from other people. Because if you at this moment, viewing this video, are in some time of crisis in your life, if you're at a crossroads, and you suddenly see this man who resembles somebody within your conscious life, and you see the man, and you're together with the man, and you're walking through this meadow of snakes. Here comes the snake again onto my screen. Now, your book of interpretations, it's going to tell you to be very, very careful, because this man represents some sort of sexual predator. The reason being that there are all the snakes in the dream. Rubbish, absolute rubbish. Because you see the man that you see in your subconscious mind through the window of your dream is not the man that you know in your conscious life. And the snakes are not snakes you may have seen in a zoo in your conscious life. They are there simply as symbols being offered by your subconscious mind. And they are symbols that represent not aspects of your conscious life. The man is not the man. The snakes are not snakes you have seen. The symbols are symbols to help you understand aspects of your subconscious mind that you do not have aspects to. Now, this is a little bit complicated, but in other words, that man that you see in your subconscious mind through the window of the dream is a part of you. It is not the man you may know in your conscious life. It's very tempting to think it is, but it's not. It's a part of you. The snakes you see through the window of your dream in your subconscious mind are not snakes you may have seen in the zoo or in the jungle or in the bush. The snakes are symbols. They are part of you. So your task in coming to terms with the dream is to ask yourself, what part of myself does this man represent? So, for instance, if the man is a very tall, muscular, aggressive man who is constantly putting people down, just reflect very, very carefully, not jumping to any conclusions. Does this have any resonance for a part of me? Is there a part of me that is like the man? Now, this is even the case if the shape of this man, if the nature and personality of this man happens to be the very lover in your life that you're having such difficulty with and that you're trying to overcome in some deep crisis you're going through. And that's why it's very, very confusing for you, because you're likely to think of this man as being the person in your conscious life. He's not. He is part of your subconscious. Now, I'm going to leave it there because that's very, very difficult and it's an awful lot to take in one video clip. But just to review what we've talked about symbols, whatever they may be, and once again, God knows what a cell phone might mean in your dream, but we've talked about symbols popping up through the window of the dream from the subconscious mind and being part of yourself, not part of anything in the external world. But those symbols can help us connect our conscious mind with our subconscious mind, and then in turn help us resolve conflicts that may be apparent in our conscious lives. I hope that's been helpful, if a little confusing, and we'll come back to it and learn more by looking at one of my dreams and what it might have meant for me in video clip 3. Thank you for joining me once again, and sweet dreams.